Happy 78th birthday, Pope.
Your gift is world peace, starting with the U.S. and Cuba.
Woohoo! All right, that was our bit of happy news. President Obama and the president of Cuba. I don't know the president of Cuba's name.
Raul Castro.
Raul Castro. Basically shaking hands thanks to the Pope. Well, not totally thanks to the Pope, but he was there. He helped.
Yeah, apparently there's a whole series of secret negotiations that happened with the Pope assisting.
Yeah, he wrote some letters to both parties and got them to work on their differences. But that's good. That's good news. That's why we're telling you it's good news.
Yes.
But on to the entertainment and terrestrial news that you come here for at the end. So we have two separate sort of topics today, forks in the road, if you will. For one, there is the movies, news,
yes,
which will include such things as films that are being added to the Library of Congress, which is always exciting. And there's also tech news,
which is robotic sharks. Fortunately, they're American.
And they're in the Navy, so that's even better. They get ranks and stuff. But anyway, we're gonna dive right in. And that just happened. I didn't even think about that. Right in with the movie news, and to start off, it is official, Kevin. The Library of Congress has officially added The Big Lebowski to its vast array of movies.
So The Big Lebowski is now a national treasure.
It is a national treasure.
That is ordered to be preserved for posterity.
That Nicolas Cage will hunt down in the National Treasure 3 movie. He will find The Big Lebowski and find, the secret Templar codes. And I'm just kidding. But, so 25 films were actually added to the Library of Congress recently, and specifically to the National Film Registry.
Yeah.
Now, this, as Kevin said, was... These items on this list, all these films are considered basically national treasures. They are a list of the government's selection of films that are deemed culturally, historically, and or aesthetically significant. Now, among the other films that were added...
I know Saving Private Ryan got added.
And Ferris Bueller's Day Off. A lot of the other films on the list I don't know, so they must be on the aesthetically significant side of things.
The art movies.
The art movies. But what's interesting is... that it took the Big Lebowski like 20 years, less than 20 years. It was 16 years.
Yes.
16 years. You're trying to do the math.
Yes.
16 years to get from when it was released in 1998 to get into the Library of Congress. Now, I did some research. 2001: A Space Odyssey, which was released in 1968, was added to the Library of Congress in 1991. So that took 23 years. So it took longer. Yeah. And I would say that is much more culturally significant than The Big Lebowski. But I haven't seen The Big Lebowski, so maybe I'm wrong, and I have to change that, especially now that it's in the Library of Congress.
It's obviously important.
This should be your new list of movies to draw from, Kevin.
Yes.
Is this. Another movie that was added to the Library of Congress a few years ago. Earlier was The Matrix. That was released in 1999, and it was added in 2012, so it was only 13 years. Yeah, I wrote 3 there. I don't know why
13. Yeah.
Yeah, it was 13 years. I think it was actually shorter than that. I might have.
And what else? Oh, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Willy Wonka and the
1971 version. The good version.
So that took a long time for that to get in there. 43 years? Whatever. It's about time. It's a good version of the movie. So if you ever want a list of movies to see that should actually enhance your knowledge of America and your just please your brain in some way, shape, or form. Get cultured. That's a good way of putting it. You should check out the Library of Congress's list. It's online. I don't even know how many movies. It's a lot of movies, though.
Yeah.
Back to the Future's on there, so clearly there's some good films in there. So next up, now that we're out of the Library of Congress phase, Kevin, everything in this world today, you can subscribe to anything. Yes. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Hint, hint.
You can also subscribe to milk on Amazon. You can have it
I've heard about this. Yeah, you get it delivered to you.
You can subscribe to food and non-perishable items on Amazon. You can subscribe to HBO, and you can now, soon you'll be able to subscribe to a movie theater.
So AMC has developed, right? They have the prices set up already?
So they're working with a company called MoviePass to basically they're just running a pilot program now, a little test ground in Boston and Denver starting next year, where they will have price subscriptions. So $35 a month is your standard subscription, where you get unlimited movies for a month. Now, there's also a $45 subscription where you get unlimited movies, plus they can be of any format. They can be 3D or IMAX. So that's a pretty good deal. For $10 more, you can get, if 4 IMAX movies comes out that month, that's a huge
That's
saving.
probably the better deal if you can get all these IMAX and 3D movies that you want, if you're into that.
So I'd say use the $35 one throughout most of the year, and then during the summer, you bump it up to the $45, because that's when all the big movies come out. But so what's interesting about this is last year, or this past year, movie attendance dropped 5% across the board. So less people are going to movies now. And another thing is movie theaters don't make money off the tickets. It's actually off the concessions and stuff.
Which is why they're so expensive.
Right. So this makes perfect sense for why... Like, this is something that makes perfect sense. You get more people coming in, or you get people coming in more often, because if they can go to the movie and just be like, flash a badge, be like, I can get in, they're going to go to the concession stand and buy the food. It's done. It's a smart deal. I don't know why they haven't done this sooner.
And it may get people to see movies that they might not otherwise have gone to see.
That's exactly the other thing, yeah.
The rationale of, is it a good enough movie to spend my $12 on?
Right.
Suddenly is kind of out the window if you already have a subscription and, might as well give it a try. Yeah. It takes over.
It's kind of like, that Saturday night on Netflix when you're like, I don't know what to watch, and like, there's this thing here that okay, fine. I've already paid enough that I've definitely gotten my money's worth out of this. So if you think about it, if you go to a movie a week on the subscription, you basically are getting it. You're getting your money's worth out of it. So add in those artsy movies out there that you're like, I don't know. Boom. I think this is a good idea. I guess we'll find out after this whole pilot program works.
What cities?
Boston and Denver. So they didn't say when it was starting, but it should be probably sometime next year, early next year, I'd assume. I think this is a great idea. I would totally subscribe. Would you subscribe? I don't know how you feel about it.
Because I don't go to movie theaters enough.
Yeah.
But I'd be curious to see what the response is, and the price point may change depending on feedback in the pilot program.
That's very true.
Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the only way that they could probably only drop it like $5, $10 at most.
Yeah, because for those to be worth it, it's either 3 movies or 4 for whichever expensive one.
Yeah, exactly. Now, we're heading on to the tech news, which is exciting. So last week, we talked about the Navy getting a laser. That's pretty cool.
Now the Navy's getting sharks.
We're not just talking about like live sharks that they're training and putting the lasers on top of their heads. No. This isn't Austin Powers. We're talking about robot sharks that look like sharks, and they're also robots.
They swim. They move like sharks.
There'll be a picture on the screen right now of what it looks like. If I could figure out how to make GIFs and put them into a video, I would totally do that, but I don't think I can. The point is, look at this thing. It looks like a shark. If you were on a boat, you would think it's a shark, but it's not a shark. It's actually smaller than a shark. And
it's in fact the U.S. military.
Yes, it's in fact the U.S. military, so that's going to only scare you just a little bit. It's called Ghost Swimmer, which also is a scary name. It's about 5 feet long, and it weighs only about 100 pounds. So it's actually, that's pretty short in terms of sharks.
Yeah.
It actually has accurate fins and tail, and the tail is actually used for propulsion through the water. So, you wouldn't just expect a little stupid propeller on the back. Yeah. No, this thing completely mimics what a shark does and how it moves through the water, which is crazy. It can dive down to 300 feet, or it could stay actually in water that's like 10. I think they said 10 inches shallow. I don't know,
because it's small enough that it can go into shallow water.
Yeah, it can go into shallow water. So if it goes down to 300 feet, it'll take whatever data, and then it'll surface and then beam it out to the Navy. It can be used. They're talking about using it for reconnaissance or intelligence essentially, but it could also be used to replace the dolphins and I think otters. No, sea lions that are being used to look for mines and recover things underwater. So this way, PETA is like, yeah, we don't have real animals aren't in danger anymore. No, you're making robotic animals. Great, we're all happy about that.
Robotic animals, though, we're in the future.
We're not talking about our PETA, like robotic pet or whatever. I don't even know what PETA stands for. PETAR, is that what it would be? Animal robotics at the end.
Probably, yeah.
But yeah, I think this is really cool. I would be terrified. Especially when they start fixing these things with the lasers that they've been
laser sharks, yes.
That'll be a scary day. But I think this is a cool idea. And, if you're going to make robotics, why not mimic, what evolution has already made into very efficient things? Like, they have a cheetah robot, which is very scary. I don't want a robot that can run faster than me. But, hey, I guess you got to start somewhere. And, they have a gecko robot.
There's also the mule robot, which can carry hundreds of pounds.
Oh yeah, and
it has the 4 legs that it can walk.
Yeah, robots are really becoming everywhere. So the only thing we have to do is make sure Skynet doesn't get activated, and we're good. Shark robots for everybody. But speaking of robots, that was a terrible segue. It has nothing to do with that. You can support our show, which has no robots. We are live people, and we do. We all
swear
the work.
We're real.
I can pinch him, and he'll bleed not like the Terminator though, because he doesn't bleed. You can support the show by buying T-shirts and mugs over at outofspacetv.spreadshirt.com, or you can support the show by subscribing and liking and commenting on this video, because you have to feel something about robotic sharks.
Some response.
Yeah. Are you afraid? Are you afraid of Jaws happening, but with a robot? New movie idea.
I was about to say that's gonna happen now.
Yeah. How do you feel about? Would you subscribe to a movie theater subscription service, or how do you feel about Big Lebowski being included in America's National Treasures? What would you want to include in that? Whatever you have in mind, you can drop it in the comments below. Like we said, you can subscribe below our faces. Movies to the right, you're right.
This way.
Kevin's left, you're right. And you can, have a good holiday.
Yes.
Thank you for watching.
Thanks.
See you out there.